Here's our second album interview on Jumping Over Rocks with our friend Jamie Lin Wilson. The record was made at Arlyn Studios in Austin and produced by multi-instrumentalist Scott Davis.
Our general idea, whenever I decided to keep making music after the Trishas, was that I would make this record and then see what happened. Maybe there's not another record, maybe there is another record, and that was Holidays and Wedding Rings. And if I'm gonna give it a shot, this is the time to do it. But then I started writing songs again, and this record happened. And I made plans to make this album last year, February. Well, Christmas Eve, I found out that I was pregnant again. And I just went, I'm gonna have to quit. Because we've always talked about if we have a fourth kid, like I'm open to a fourth kid, but that's gonna make it so much harder. And then if we do that, I'll have to figure out a way to stay home and maybe just write songs or something. It was a surprise, and I already had all of this stuff planned, and he just goes, you don't have to quit, you don't have to quit, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out, we can do it, you know? So since then, we've been it's a team effort of like, okay, who's gonna do this, who's gonna do that? I had the finish line of February this whole time, and so did he, and so did my kids, and so we got to February, and I took all of February off into March. And so now this spring will be a little slower, and we'll get back into it and figure out less into record release, play all the time mode, more into maintenance of both career and family.
Souls, they move in circles as the generations pass, and the old ones hold the young as though the time will never last, and the dusk leads to the dawn, and as the darkness brings us light, that's the way that it goes in the game of death and life.
The name of the record is Jumping Over Rocks, and that comes from a line in this song, and this is another song that I tried to write for a very long time. I've been kind of trying to observe around me instead of write things about myself. I've been trying to find stories, and I did that a lot on this album. And this song, Death and Life, is two different stories. One's a widow that lives in town. She's close to our family, and it took her 3 years to buy a gravestone for her husband because she just wasn't ready to do that. Well, then there's this other story where my husband's father passed away, asked him to build him a coffin. Will you build me a coffin whenever I die? And we're always like, yeah, I will, all right. So the day that Tommy died, we went home, and Roy turned left and went to a lumber store. He spent 2 days building his dad's coffin. Then to complete that circle, a couple years later, Roy and I had a little boy that was born on Tommy's birthday. And in my opinion, it's not a sad song. In my opinion, it just means that we just keep going. We keep going, and we recognize the things that are signs, you know, that keep us going. I finally got it. It took me 5 years to get it, but I got it. This project is it's an interesting place for me because I did spend all of that time in the Gougers and then in the Trishas, and we were taking trips to Nashville, writing songs, learning how to co-write. I'd never co-written before, wasn't very good at it, and then I got better at it, and then I used it as a crutch. I couldn't finish anything on my own, and then I kind of had to glide back into being able to be an individual writer again. And eventually I kind of have been able to figure out what I'm supposed to sound like, and what are the images, and what's the vibe, and what are the sounds that I want to put out.
They shot the breeze quite cavalier to the boiling of the pot, sang the instant coffee blues, and never fired a shot.
I really couldn't have expected the way that people have reacted to the record and the sounds and the songs, and Honestly, you never know how people are gonna like it or not. It's been really well received, and I'm really happy about that. There's one song called Run that actually was maybe not even gonna make the record. I kind of had to get convinced to put it on. I've had a lot of girls come up and say that it helped them get out of a bad relationship. You know, I didn't think that I was gonna be a poster child for leaving a bad relationship, considering I've been married for 14 years. That's why we have music, I guess, and that's why we get gifted these songs, is because eventually it might help somebody through something. So that's been really cool to hear.